Most people look at a balcony in February and see a dead zone where nothing can possibly survive, believing they have to wait until the warm days of May to even think about touching a bag of soil. They are completely wrong, and that hesitation is costing them months of fresh food. The truth is that February is actually one of the most exciting months for a container gardener, because this is the secret window where you can establish root systems that will explode with growth the moment spring truly arrives. If you start today, while everyone else is still buying wilted produce at the grocery store, you will be harvesting your first fresh, crisp salads right on your doorstep. By the end of this video, you are going to have a complete weatherproof planting strategy for 7 specific crops that don't just survive the February chill, but actually thrive in it. We are going to move beyond generic gardening advice and focus specifically on how these plants behave in containers, how to manage the unique microclimate of a balcony, and exactly how to position your pots to cheat the frost. You will walk away with the confidence to turn your empty pots into a food production system this weekend, guaranteeing you an early harvest that your neighbors won't believe is possible. We have to start with the absolute speed champion of the balcony garden, which is the radish. There is simply no other crop that offers the same instant gratification, which is crucial in February when we are desperate to see life return to our outdoor spaces. While a tomato plant might demand months of patience, a spring radish like the French breakfast or cherry belle variety can go from seed to plate in as little as 25 days. On a balcony, radishes are particularly brilliant because they require very shallow root space, meaning you can grow a significant amount of food in those smaller, shallow window boxes that are useless for larger summer crops. The key to success with February radishes in containers is moisture management. Because your pots are exposed to the wind on a balcony, the soil can dry out faster than you might expect, even in cold weather, and a dry radish becomes woody and incredibly spicy. You want to sow these seeds about half an inch deep and keep the soil consistently moist but not waterlogged. If a hard freeze is forecasted, the beauty of growing these in small containers is that you can simply lift them inside for the night or cover them with a clear plastic tub to create a mini greenhouse effect. By planting a small batch every single week starting now, you will create a continuous conveyor belt of crunchy, peppery snacks that signal the start of your gardening season long before the frost has fully lifted. Next on our list is a leafy green that actually tastes significantly better when grown in the cold, and that is spinach. Most new gardeners don't realize that spinach produces a natural sugar as a defense mechanism against frost, which acts like an antifreeze for the plant cells and results in a much sweeter, more tender leaf than anything you can grow in the summer heat. On a balcony, spinach is your best friend because it hates the heat radiating off concrete walls in July, but in February, that thermal mass works in your favor, keeping the pots just warm enough to encourage slow, steady growth without triggering the plant to bolt and turn bitter. When you plant spinach in February, you want to be generous with your seeding density, because we are growing this for baby leaves rather than massive, mature bunches. Scatter the seeds across the surface of a wide, medium-depth container and cover them lightly with soil. Because spinach has a deep taproot, even for a leafy green, ensure your container is at least 6 inches deep to allow that root to establish itself. The result of starting this in February is that by the time March rolls around, you will have a dense, cut-and-come-again carpet of greens. You can harvest the outer leaves for your morning smoothies or salads and let the center continue to grow, getting weeks of production from a single pot before the weather inevitably gets too warm. The third crop changes the way we think about planting entirely, and that is growing peas specifically for their shoots. Usually, peas require trellises, vertical space, and months of growth to produce pods, which can be a hassle on a windy balcony. However, pea shoots are grown strictly for their delicious tender greens, which taste exactly like a fresh snap pea, but are ready to harvest in just 2 or 3 weeks. This is the perfect hack for small spaces because you don't need fancy trellises or deep pots. You can grow an entire salad's worth of greens in a shallow tray that is only 2 or 3 inches deep. To do this, you will want to soak your dried peas. You can even use whole dried peas from the grocery store to save money, in water overnight to jumpstart the germination process. Then, pack them into your container incredibly densely, almost so they are touching, and cover them with an inch of soil. In the cool weather of February, they will shoot up thick, sturdy stalks that are incredibly cold-hardy. When they are about 4 to 6 inches tall, you simply snip them off right above the bottom set of leaves. The plant will often regrow for a second harvest, giving you double the value. This technique provides that fresh flavor of spring peas without the 3-month wait or the need for complex structural support on your balcony railing. For those of you with a bit more floor space on your balcony, we have the heavy lifter of the winter garden, the broad bean, also known as the fava bean. These plants are tanks. They are incredibly robust and can withstand temperatures that would kill almost anything else in your garden. For a balcony gardener, broad beans offer height and vertical interest in a season that is usually very flat and boring. They will grow tall and strong stems that eventually produce massive pods. But even before that, their white and black flowers are beautiful and support early pollinators. You will need a deeper pot for broad beans, something at least 10 to 12 inches deep, as they develop a substantial root system that helps anchor them against the wind. Plant the seeds about 2 inches deep and give them space, perhaps only 3 or 4 plants per large pot. The magic of broad beans is that they are nitrogen fixers, meaning they actually improve the soil they are growing in by pulling nitrogen from the air and storing it in their roots. By planting these in February, you are essentially prepping your soil for your summer crops like tomatoes or peppers, leaving the potting mix richer than you found it. Plus, the young leafy tops can also be eaten like spinach, giving you a dual-purpose crop that works hard for its spot on your limited balcony floor. If you crave flavor that punches back, you need to be planting arugula or rocket right now. This is a crop that thrives in the cool, short days of February and brings a spicy, nutty kick to your kitchen that store-bought arugula simply cannot match. Commercial arugula is often harvested days before you eat it, losing its potency, but the leaves you cut from your balcony will be intense and flavorful. Arugula germinates in surprisingly cool soil, sometimes as low as 40 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the most reliable seeds to sow when you are unsure if spring has truly arrived. For the balcony setup, arugula is incredibly versatile and can be tucked into the corners of larger pots or grown in its own dedicated window box. It has a shallow root system, so it won't compete heavily with other plants if you decide to interplant it. Sow the seeds thinly on the surface and barely cover them, as they need a little light to know it's time to wake up. The growth is rapid, and similar to spinach, it is best harvested as baby leaves. The beauty of February arugula is that the cold weather keeps the leaves tender. Once the heat hits, arugula becomes tough and incredibly spicy, so this really is a crop that begs to be grown in the late winter window. No balcony garden is complete without the humble spring onion or scallion. These are the ultimate space savers because they grow vertically and take up almost zero footprint, meaning you can squeeze them into gaps that no other vegetable could utilize. You can literally poke a few onion sets or sow seeds around the base of a dormant rosebush or alongside your broad beans, and they will happily grow without complaining. They are tough, resilient, and virtually immune to the pests that plague summer gardens, making them a set-it-and-forget-it crop. Growing spring onions from seed in February does require a little patience as they start like tiny blades of grass, but they establish a root network that ensures a massive explosion of growth as soon as the sun gets stronger in March. If you use onion sets, which are immature bulbs, you can get a head start and be harvesting green tops within weeks. They add a fresh, savory bite to your winter soups and stews, and because you are growing them yourself, you can harvest just 1 or 2 stalks at a time, rather than buying a whole bunch that goes slimy in the fridge. This ability to harvest exactly what you need, when you need it, is the true luxury of having a grocery store on your balcony. Finally, we have the king of winter nutrition, and that is baby kale. Now, I know kale can be polarizing, but baby kale grown in the chill of February is a completely different vegetable than the tough, fibrous leaves you find in the supermarket. Like spinach, the frost sweetens the leaves, making them tender enough to eat raw in a salad without needing to massage them. Kale is practically indestructible. I have seen kale on my balcony buried under a dusting of snow and bounce back perfectly fine the next day. It is the ultimate insurance policy for the anxious gardener who worries about killing their plants. For February planting, select varieties like Russian Red or Lacinato, which are particularly cold-hardy and look stunning with their textured, colorful leaves. Scatter the seeds across the surface of your soil and cover lightly. We are aiming for a density that creates a forest of baby greens. You can start harvesting when the leaves are just 2 or 3 inches long. This cut-and-come-again method stimulates the plant to produce more leaves from the center, meaning a single sowing in February can provide you with daily greens well into May. It is high yield, low maintenance, and visually beautiful, the trifecta for a balcony garden. So, here is the reality of the situation. You could wait for the perfect weather, or you could spend 30 minutes this weekend filling a few pots with soil and seeds. By taking action now, you aren't just planting seeds, you are claiming your harvest months ahead of schedule. Your balcony doesn't have to be a gray, empty space until May. It can be a vibrant, productive ecosystem starting right now. If you want to see exactly how I mix my soil to ensure these winter crops don't get waterlogged, or how I arrange my pots to protect them from the wind, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I am going to be documenting this entire grow-along series month by month, so you definitely don't want to miss the March guide. Hit that like button if you're ready to get your hands dirty this February, and leave me a comment down below. Which of these 7 crops are you going to try first? I'd love to know. Get planting, and I'll see you in the next video.